and Rob via telephone.
Via the telephone.
We have Eric Deggans here. Eric, welcome to the show again.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Eric, welcome to Tampa Bay's Media Talk. How you doing,
wait,
boss?
that's
You've been all over the place.
That was a new picture of Eric. I had never
We got a
seen
better
that one
picture?
before. Yeah.
Hey, what are you at a podium talking about over there?
What is that picture?
You never saw the picture of me?
I had never seen that picture
I guess
before.
I never looked at the monitor with you standing at a podium. What are you talking about?
Oh, I have no idea what picture you're talking about.
All right.
That's all right. We'll email
Well,
it to you.
you spent last Monday morning sitting in a studio with Bubba the Love Sponge. Our last Tuesday morning. He's back now. How was that time spent in his studio for you?
Well, it's always an interesting experience visiting Bubba's studio. You know, he's built a space for himself in a Tampa office park where he can do his shows both for Sirius and for Cox Radio. So it's custom built to his specifications. So there's a torture rack where certain people can be strapped in and various things done to them.
Whoa, what? What did you say?
A torture rack.
And there's also a stripper pole. Now, when I was there, that stuff was kind of put away almost as a concession that they would have to do a much lighter and a much less explicit show for commercial radio. But when they do their stuff for Sirius, then the porn stars come out and the stripper poles come out, and it's a totally different scene.
Eric, you know, one can't help but wonder the landscape of today's radio, you know, the change over the past couple of years, the really, if you didn't listen to MJ, what was there really out there as talk radio? You got Cowhead being cut back from being a talk show guy who's sort of fun to just now a lot of songs,
right.
and then some Jack and Ted, and then what do you do after that? You get Bubba comes in. What's your take on the landscape?
Well, I certainly think that Bubba felt that there hadn't really been anybody who had come along and scooped up the audience that he had left when he left the air. For whatever reason, the guy who wound up taking over his morning spot at 98 Rock Buckethead has not really clicked with listeners the way that Bubba did. Right. And so, you know, I think he had the sense that there were a lot of people still in Tampa who hadn't really committed to a morning show personality and didn't have a morning show personality that reflected, you know, what he did. So, you know, he's given it a shot. He's coming back to terrestrial, and he's trying to get these people, frankly, who are male, they're young, they're into explicit, as explicit radio as the current environment will allow. And, you know, they want somebody who kind of reflects their interests and what they like to do. And Bubba's going to try and fill that niche. Now, whether that audience is still there, whether they've moved on, whether it's going to be too hard to remind people that he's still there, or whether the people who liked his old show are going to be disappointed in what he's doing now, all that is yet to be seen.
Well, what do you think with him coming back into what is it going to do to the market? Is it going to cause a rift? Is it going to stay the same? I mean, what are your predictions on it?
Well, like I said, you know, we have to see how listeners react. I think it's a smart bet because at the core of it all, Bubba is a savvy radio personality. He knows how to get attention, and he knows how to serve and attract an audience. So, you know, I think Cox, once they were confident that he would stay within the guidelines of decency and not get a huge SEC fine, I think they realized that they could bet on this guy to raise their fortunes in the morning. Now, I think it's going to throw things into turbulence a little bit, particularly if he gets a good number the next time ratings come out. MJ is probably going to feel a little threatened, although, frankly, his audience is more female, and I'm not sure that Bubba is going to pull so much from MJ Kelly, who's the top-rated morning guy now, as much as he'll pull from 98 Rock, which already is not necessarily a powerhouse in the ratings, and maybe some other more male-oriented morning show hosts.
You know, well, I read your blog, and you had some people that commented to your blog that were not too enthused that Bubba was back in the morning. And so just going by your blog, it seems like, well, and I don't know who your demographics are or who's reading it. Maybe they are.
All really intelligent people, Eric. Just tell her that.
But so, I mean, just by your responses to your blog, it didn't seem very favorable for him.
Yeah, well, you know, the thing about Bubba is that he is a very polarizing figure. And I think, if I'm recalling the responses to my blog accurately, number one, we had a huge amount of responses. I think at last count it was something like 52 people commented, which is a lot for my blog. And probably it's about evenly distributed between people who don't like Bubba and people who love him. And that's to be expected, I think, from a radio personality who pushes as many buttons as Bubba does. Either you really like that or you really don't. And there's not too many people who feel kind of ambivalent about Bubba the Love Sponge.
You know, you spent a lot of time with him in the studio. I believe you probably hung out there for a couple hours during the Tuesday premiere of it, right?
Oh, yeah. I was there for a couple of hours, and I'd been there before.
And honestly, you think it's just a vendetta, or is it for the cash, or what is this return to terrestrial radio?
And the attack on Clear Channel and MJ.
Yeah, I mean, it seems very vindictive.
I think the attack on Clear Channel and MJ is just fun for him.
Okay.
I mean, he knows that he needs to come back to radio in a strong way, in a way that's going to get people's attention. And there's no better way for him to do that than to come back complaining about how he got treated by Clear Channel and sort of trying to start this feud with MJ. I mean, he personally doesn't like him anyway, and he feels that Clear Channel betrayed him in the way that they fired him when he got fined $755,000. So he's happy to go after them on the radio. But I think that is kind of an extra plus. For Bubba, this is about building an empire that straddles terrestrial radio and satellite radio. Right now, terrestrial radio is still where the money is, and it's an enduring institution. So he wants to get back in it. Satellite radio has a national reach, though, and you got to remember, Bubba has a lot of ancillary products that he puts his name on. He sells T-shirts and hats and DVD collections, and he has a traveling stand-up comedy show that he brings to different venues, and all of that is fueled by a nationwide presence of a satellite radio show.
So, yeah, and it kind of seems like he's beat. I'm kind of bored hearing the attack on Clear Channel and MJ. You know, almost to the point.
I think he's lightening up. I think he just came out of the gate real heavy just to get that buzz factor, to get that hit. You know.
Well, I think the danger, obviously, in focusing too much on this feud is that, some listeners will feel like it's too much inside baseball. Yep. But the thing about fans of a radio personality is that they get very involved in the rhythms of the show. They get involved in the personalities and the feuds. And
that's different than their personal life.
The
You're
insults.
Right.
So I think people who are Bubba's fans and people who know local radio are kind of enjoying. I mean, Bubba's going on the radio and revealing a lot of things that he says he knows about MJ and how he treated other people at the station, how Clear Channel treated other people at the station.
Right,
so they're hearing all this behind the scenes gossip about people that they hear on the radio every day, and that may turn out to be quite interesting.
Well, Eric, we're running out of time, but if people want to get your full take on Bubba back in the market, give us your contact information for your blog.
Sure. People can go to my blog, which is called The Feed, and the fastest way to get there is to go to sptimes.com and look for my blog, or if you want to use the web address, it's blogs.tampabay.com/media.
Well, Eric, thank you very much for calling in. I know you've got a gazillion children that you have to deal with right now, so we appreciate it.
Well, I'm headed to soccer practice is what I'm doing.
Just to wrap this whole conversation up, as a mother of young kids, you never know what it's going to come out of his mouth, so it's kind of not – I wouldn't choose to have him on in my car. However, when they're gone, I get him out, and I do listen to him just to see what he has to say. So thank you very much, Eric, for calling in. Hopefully
problem.
We'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.